was in Christianity for a couple of years. I was a youth pastor. I was a minister. I preached all over the U.S. I got some videos too. I just hide them because somebody might take it and say, "Look what Divine's doing right now." I'm like, "Nah, you're taking it out of context." You know what I'm saying? But I set up Bible studies, Sunday school, and stuff like that. Then it was a moment of time that I stepped away because my dad was sick, and I let him stay with me for a little bit till he got back into good health. And a friend of mine, she was like on that journey with me kind of, but she wasn't like a Christian yet, but she tried to study it and something didn't really sit with her. So in 2013, she had sent me some information about the conscious community. Conscious community. I'm like, what the heck is a conscious community, right? So I see a couple of things about that over the years, but I didn't really pay no attention because I didn't really understand it like that. She's like, yeah, you know, you got to come out of Christianity and blah, blah, blah. So she sent me some SETI videos. Any of you know who Sarah Soon SETI is? Any of you know who Sarah Soon SETI is? That is not the first video you give somebody you try to come into the truth.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so you know who Sarah Soon SETI is?
Yes.
Okay. So those of you who are going to be curious after this and look them up, just note, the disclaimer, there's going to be a lot of cursing and MFs and all of that. So just be aware of that, right? That is not how you wake somebody up into consciousness. And sometimes that happens on this end as well. That's the first encounter that people have with our community is cursing and anger and frustration. So when you are angry, are you really in charge? When you are bitter, do you still have control?
No.
When you are disappointed, can you have an expectation? These are some things to think about, right? Yes, no? Yes. So after she gave me that video, I started researching because my thing was, all right, I haven't been going to church anymore, but I'm still a Christian. She needs to get saved. So now I'm sounding like my grandmother. I'm going to go look into whatever she's doing, and I'm going to get this woman saved. Long story short, it took me out of Christianity. So that's 2-0. I'm losing the fight. I'm just getting beat up, right? So, but one thing is, I never left the scriptures. For some reason, something told me, well, all this consciousness, there's some truth there. I didn't really know what it was, but coming up from New York, even as a Christian, I used to debate with these dudes on the corner. And now, I'm in pictures with them. That's 3-0. I'm losing the game, right? But long story short, once that happened, the Most High said to me, like, there's still purpose in this text. I didn't understand it. So I studied everything I could in consciousness. From 2012 all the way to where I'm at now, I studied every facet of the conscious community, and I realized it boils down to 3 things. Reduces down to 3 things. Number 1 is the awakening experience. Identity. Who are you? Who are you? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do? Where am I supposed to go? Who am I supposed to tell this to? What is expected of me?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Test the spirits. I'm sorry, the exact scripture, but the scripture that is similar to testing the spirits to see which is of the truth.
Yes.
So that's how I that's how I arrived here, by doing that. And you spoke about your grandma. So I think it's also good to what you were doing was putting on the armor of God, you know, and to be ready to, another scripture, I apologize.
It's okay, man.
To be ready to defend His word. I'm sorry. To be prepared to defend His word.
Yes.
So I'm sorry, that's what I wanted to say.
No, that's fine.
That's what brought me here.
That's fine.
Because in general, some folks believe that that is not okay to educate yourself on a combination of different spiritualities and religions. But that is exactly how I was able to confirm that God is who He says He is.
Facts.
Because I
Facts.
a couple of family members
Yes,
that are
ma'am.
Jehovah's Witnesses. So I was raised Baptist. My grandma, she was the pillar of our family. She had 18 kids, so she was the pillar of our family. And she ate, slept, and breathed Jesus Christ. So we were raised up Baptist, and I also came here from, I think there's one particular thing that made me really angry. You know, we were forced to go to church and worship this photo on the wall.
Wow.
Jesus got skin of bronze and hair of wool. So I think it was that one particular thing that began my search. And once you start searching, you're on a roller coaster.
Exactly.
And I don't like to admit this. Over the last 5 years or so, because I study history and the combination of history and geography and all that helps us with understanding the Word of God.
Yes.
But I've stayed up 24 hours, sometimes 48 hours straight.
Wow.
And
sound like me.
I also became angry.
They know. If you watch my videos. Yeah.
I also became angry. So a lot of the racism that's going on.
Yeah.
A lot of the fact that I can go on and on.
Yeah.
Stuff.
That's okay.
It is a lot.
Yeah, I understand.
As everybody knows.
Yeah.
The fact that they've taken out black history.
Yeah.
Schools.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of all that makes you want to go deeper.
Yes.
Researching. And I'll admit it was kind of hard for me to be here this is my other half. This is Bill.
Hey, Bill, what's up?
He is Jewish. So the hardest
That's
thing
fine.
for me, one of the hardest things a conversation for me to have with him was to educate him on the original Hebrews, Israelites, just to have that conversation.
And that's the thing, the first thing I'm going to say is that
It was a lot for him to come.
that's fine. That's good. And the fact that he's here, we're going to let him know you're not going to be ostracized. You're not going to be disrespected. You're not going to be belittled in any way. Because, yeah, clap.
I don't, when we walk, I'm 53, he's 52. We don't walk with our heads held down.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
People.
You shouldn't.
It is what it is. And one of the reasons, that I wanted to expose him to this, because you can, by being educated, you can in turn educate
Others, yes.
So.
And we got to understand that the miseducation runs deep. It's not just with us.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And then we got to be able to accept it. So one thing that you said in Hebrew, there's a root word called shalom, right? And it's similar to other words that we have. Hebrew has a shoresh, which is the root, and that's made out of shin, right? What's the next letter? No? Shalom. Shin, lamed, and what's the last one? Mem. So that's the root word. That means, we think it means peace, right? It means to be complete, to be sound, to be whole. And sometimes when we get stirred up because of the awakening, we lose that. That is what you're supposed to be trying to achieve, that state of being complete. And completeness is not only knowing what's going on. Completeness is not only trying to do what you're being told, but completeness is knowing how to selah when you're having time with the Most High. What does selah mean? Some people say selah, selah. It means what? Pause. Pause. Has anybody ever been by a lake and you've been in a cabin and you've seen the still waters? Yeah. Anybody ever seen that? If you haven't, take some time. They got Lake Erie up here, but there's some waves on those lakes up here. I don't know what y'all doing in Detroit, but y'all moving the waters. But sometimes you got to take some time and pause. Because like the sister said, sometimes it's not healthy going 24 hours, 48 hours. Because sometimes you get so burnt out, you just throw your hands up sometimes. But what we have to do as a people is our awakening, number one, is going to make some people uncomfortable. But number two, it's not for us to make other people uncomfortable. Yah can fight his own battles, right? You're just the vessel. Yes, he is. The scripture says, through loving kindness have I drawn thee. So when we want to convey this truth, how many of us is taking that approach? See, you cannot go out and share it if you're upset, if you're angry, if you want to point a finger, because that destroys the testimony of what we're trying to establish as a community. You understand? Okay. So let's start with the first thing. So the first thing is, once you wake up to the truth, you go do all these YouTube studies or try to go to a congregation and get some information. First thing somebody said was zeal. That's the first thing. First thing, sometimes you're just upset. Like, why nobody ain't tell me this? But then you got to realize maybe nobody told them. Or maybe somebody did tell them, but they had too much on the line to step out. Those of you who have stepped out, you have a degree of courage that I wish if I had a Medal of Honor, I would give it to you right now. You deserve that much. Because there are other people who want to do the same thing, and they just cannot. You'll be surprised how many, and I wish I could show you how many pastors that y'all seen before that email me, inbox me, oh, Divine, I like what you're doing. Divine, I like this. I'm like, so I'm looking him up. I'm like, oh, this is a big church this person's a part of. Like, but he says, listen, you know, because the church pays for my house, my car, my salary, I can't say nothing. All of that. They don't want to lose that. And I say to them, you know what, I understand. And I say to them, I said, but you know what? At some point, you're going to hit a fork in the road. And when you get to that point, it has nothing to do with me. That's between you and Yah. So when I understand, woke up to the truth, I realized it was going to be an uncomfortable truth to my family, to my friends. Nobody will understand it. But I said, you know what? What counts in the end? What really counts in the end? Is it pleasing everybody around me who are going to have an opinion that changes each and every day? Even somebody that loves you, they may have an opinion with you that may differ from last year. So why would I go and try to cater to an opinion that changes all the time? That's number one. The second thing is, I understand that who am I really to reverence? These people who may die tomorrow, I may never see them, or the Creator who's going to see me through to the end. Which one? So there's a degree of obedience that comes with being awakened, right? But now, moving forward from that awakening experience, what do you do next? I'm going to ask the next question. Next giveaway. What do you do next once you wake up? What do you think is the next step? Once you get the information, all right, I'm going to keep the statutes, laws, and commandments. Now what do you do? We're going to keep it brief. But go ahead, sis.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Start from the beginning, from step one.
And what's step one?
As the title of this class is awakening,
Now what? Okay. So asking a question. Asking a question is the first step. Second. Cleansing. Wow, that's deep. So I said purge everything. Yeah. So questioning, the purge. What's next? You're gonna speak the whole message. You can leave after this.
If you're part of a Christian church, you got to be bold enough to come out.
That's right.
And be honest with them. Okay. So honesty and transparency with those you're familiar with.
Yes.
Okay. Pastor. All right, go ahead. I'm gonna let him be quick.
You have to heal.
That's what she said. The purge process brings the healing. Now, why is this so important? Tell me why the healing process. Because what? Because you hurt. How many people get a wound and leave it open? How many people get a wound and leave it open? Unaddressed. You know you cut. You know it hurts. But you're not going to try and what? Put a Band-Aid on it. Cover it. A lot of times, because of the anger and the hurt, the misunderstanding, we want to say something. We want to scream out to somebody. But at that time that you feel like that, we have to realize that we've been hurt. We felt we've been hoodwinked and bamboozled, and we feel like somebody needs to know. Because human nature dictates in sociology that when one person of the tribe is hurt, they're innately designed to communicate it to another party, especially women. Because women are the foundation to keep the tribe together while the men are doing the work on the outside. So there's going to be women that's going to be more likely to want to say something. But a lot of times the difference is men don't want to preach to everybody. Women want to tell people in their circles because they care about them. So there's a degree of empathy that we have. But at the same time, you can ruin your testimony if you're rushing too fast and there has been no transformation. Let me say it again. If somebody, and this is how it worked for me, because when I transitioned, I wanted to do all the same things, but then I realized that nobody probably care about anyway, so let me just keep walking it, and then maybe if somebody recognizes it, they'll come to me. How many of y'all let people to come to you more than you go to them? Now, see, that's the thing. A lot of times, oh, I got to preach it on the mountaintop and tell everybody. You know what I'm saying? There's different ways you can convey it without it seeming like you're trying to shove it down somebody's throat or overwhelm somebody with it. Just live it. If you are really living it, your testimony speaks louder than anything that you say. Because you could tell me something today, and then next week I can forget about it. But if I see what you do, and I feel what you do towards me and how you make me feel, that should be the transformation process. So the first important thing when we are communicating or conveying the truth is to heal first. Say, yeah, have I been healed? So the question is, how do you know you've been healed? Enough to share it without the anger, the bitterness, the disappointment. How do you know? What is the indicator? Anybody?
The love that you have.
The love that you have. Okay. What else?
But that's very generic.
Very. Okay. So you've seen where I'm going at. Okay. We're building. You good? Do you have some input, sis? People said the love, and love is relative, right? So
On the surface, right?
that's on the surface. Gotcha.
I would say
That's good.
the spirit in which you share.
The spirit in how you share it. Okay. So now you're not going to be angry or yelling or upset, right?
I think when you share it, listening to how much they need to hear, instead of having to pushing what you need, you're listening to how what they can take.
So she got it. So the question is to listen for the need of the hearer. Because sometimes you want to be heard. But the moment that you feel like you realize it's not about me, I want to see what the need I can meet with this new information. If you're not challenging yourself to meet the needs of others, they're not going to receive anything that you say to them. Because in the back of their mind, another thing in sociology and psychology is how can it benefit the hearer? People want benefits. They don't mean want it, but there's always an incentive that drives people. So if you're going to share it, if you're thinking about yourself, then automatically you should wait. But now once you consider somebody else and say, you know what, I love this person, and I believe if they had this information, this thing that they're struggling with here, or this that they're having issues with here, or this they don't know who they are, this may benefit them. That's the first thing. Yes.
I think it's according to the need of that person.
There you go.
You know, because we all know Yeshua in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
And this is how we know that he is God.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the need that we had toward him, he was the only one that could do it. And he did it for us and for us alone.
So we have examples in the scriptures themselves, right? From the Tanakh to the Brit Hadashah, in people that met needs. Yes.
I think one of the challenges that I faced is because I was born and raised in Advent. So I was very skeptical when I first heard, because we are a Bible keeping church. Like we read the Bible, we keep the scriptures, we have the health message, we do all that, and I've always just felt like, I was convicted that it was the truth. And so when I was exposed to this and just different people planting little, nuggets here and there, it just made me feel like, I really didn't want to hear it, because I felt like, you don't tread those waters, you don't, go, too far into that, because I just felt like, I pretty much had it all.
Yeah.
And I know as a child, because we've always been taught that it's going to come a time when it's going to have to, leave the city, run to the mountains.
Exactly.
Everything that I'm hearing here, I grew up with that. And so what started to happen was I just, as I, got grown, I kind of just withdrew and thinking, well, maybe not in my lifetime. Maybe not. I'm not going to have to run to the hills. I just kind of just skepticism.
Yes.
And then when I was confronted with this truth, it was like, God, you are choosing me to bring me to even more light. Taking me to another level that I was not trying to go to.
Yeah.
I was not trying to go to the next level. And so it's just been...
But you committed to it and you did it.
Yes. And I'm kind of like in the middle, because like I still attend church, but I find myself when I talk with others, because like I say, we're reading the Bible, we're always studying. I have to be very careful with it, because they're like, sister.
Yeah. It's tactful, and it's good. Yeah, it's good that you want to employ the tact, right? So that way you're cautious, and you can also pace yourself. And some people would say, well, why are you still in the church and this and that? And that's like, well, everybody has their own means of getting to where they need to go. So I've realized that if somebody would have judged me based on where I was at currently, then I probably wouldn't be this far. But then I realized that, okay, this is expected behavior. So what I would challenge you for the first thing as far as communicating is live the life and let people come to you. If you're the light and there's darkness around you, where's everything going to go to? The light. And does a candle cast a shadow? Does a candle cast a shadow? It does? A candle casts a shadow? Have you seen that? Who's seen a candle, the light on the candle? Not the stick. Okay, let me rephrase it. The light, the fire on top of the candle. Does that cast a shadow? The candle is just the vessel. But does the fire cast a shadow? There's a reason why I'm saying that. Because no matter how bright you get, we have to realize that as a light, you cannot shadow over other people. And sometimes we try to do that. We want to cover and shadow everybody, but the light lets it expose. And it does the work for itself. So the challenge is, let you live the life and let the people come to you. Try to find a couple of months where you don't say nothing, you just living it out. And they can see it. They say, oh, something different. Because in Christianity, you have one way, because I was taught Christianity, live the life, and people will see it, right? But now, since that is so common, this way of life is not as common. So when people see it, the thing is that there's a bad connotation about us out there. Like there's a lot of bad stuff that people say about us. When you live the opposite, you shut all that down. Yes, brother.
I just want to say that confusion was the biggest thing when I first came out, because it was like, okay, all these years I've been taught Jesus, speaking in tongues, baptism, Holy Ghost, and all of a sudden tell me I get rid of this. You know, I'm like, am I going to go to hell?
That's facts.
No church, nowhere to fellowship, because you got camps here, you got the camps there. They believe different things. So I just stick to the YouTube and listen, like Pastor Dowd.
Yeah.
Listen to him throughout the years, and not just him, it's a prophet down in Texas that I listen to. That's how I've kind of like just learned, and I've been studying and praying, that's how we deal. So I think the YouTube was the biggest thing that helped me.
Well, guess what? Now you in real life tube. So you ain't got to sit behind a computer no more. Look at all of these people that's here right now, brother.
That's true.
All right, you got a whole network, a whole community right here. So if you need somebody, before you leave, I need you to exchange information, exchange names, give hugs, because I want everybody to feel embraced and feel loved. Because when you don't feel that, that can also contribute to the anger and the bitterness, because you feel nobody understands you.
So Ron,
Yes.
living a life consists of proper nutrition, reading the proper scriptures. For example, we have the Jehovah Witnesses. They have a specific Bible that
They use the New World Translation.
And I have in the past, I have two aunties that are in the past. I have compared the Bible that we use, the King James. Thank you, John. King James against the book that they have.
Yes.
So, so what is your opinion as to, the steps?
Gotcha.
Because like I said, it's nutrition, combination of many things with living this life.
Gotcha. Now, I would love to go into detail, but they're cutting my time. You said what?
I'll be dealing with that tomorrow.
Oh, okay. So Pastor Kelly will address that, yeah. So I would love to go into detail, but they want to cut my time because they went overtime. But I will give it to, I'll give it to you, sis. So what I'll do is I'll give you the rest of this lecture, session, workshop, and via email, so you can have those steps that we was able to create. And this way it'll be able to help y'all. So I'm gonna get to the other 2 points. And then if y'all want to stay and ask questions, that's fine. But I want to just get through it. So at least if you have to leave, I finished everything, all right? So the second thing is, after the conveyance part, the second thing is action, community action. How many of y'all are involved in some element of your community that when people see you put that work in, they know something is different about you? Raise your hand. How many of y'all think you're supposed to just sit down and just wait it out? Wait till Jesus or somebody come save us. I mean, y'all laughing. Some people are chuckling. I'm just asking a question. How many people are sitting it out and waiting for Jesus to come and save you? Raise your hand. Look at that. Nobody raised it. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm not waiting,
No, that's fine. Go ahead. Yeah.
but I do feed the homeless, and I print up scriptures like, Second Chronicles 7:14. Romans 13:11. High time to wake up out, is that the one? High time to wake up out of sleep, or?
Romans 13. Yeah.
Okay. And letting them know who they are as a people. And
Somebody get Jeremiah. Keep going, sis. Jeremiah chapter 29.
and just the condition that just saddens me, you know. Even before I was in the truth, I was speaking the heart.
Yeah.
I had that passion to be the humble.
That's great.
But now that
Keep
I
doing it.
know the condition that,
And not even that. Torah commands you
yes,
to take care of the oppressed,
yes,
the poor, the fatherless, and the widows. It's a commandment.
yes,
Before, I could go to church and it's optional.
right,
When you following Torah, you are commanded to do this. It's a difference.
it is.
Because the obligation is higher, because the stakes is higher. So that's the first thing, right? But get Jeremiah chapter 29. I want you to read from verse 1 to verse 7. Who wants to be the reader on today?
Do somebody else have it?
Yeah, I'll let Zion read. Go ahead.
From verse 1.
Yes.
And these are the words of the letter that Jeremiah the prophet sent via Jerusalem to the remnant of the elders who were carried away captive.
Wait. Say it again. He sent it where?
From Jerusalem
To where?
to the remnant of the elders
Where were the elders at?
carried away captive.
Carried away captive. So they're in captivity. Receiving a letter from the prophet, right? Keep going.
And to the priests and to the prophets.
Oh, so it wasn't just the regular people? Okay, keep going.
And to all the people whom Nebuchadnezzar had carried away captive from Jerusalem to Babylon. After Jeconiah the king, and the queen mother, and the eunuchs, the princes of Judah, and Jerusalem, and the craftsmen, and the metal workers had departed from Jerusalem. By the hand of Elasa, the son of Shaphan, and Gemariah, the son of Hilkiah, whom Zedekiah, king of Judah, sent to Babylon, to Nebuchadnezzar, king
So we
of
got a
Judah.
location, Babylon. All right, keep going.
Thus saith the Lord of hosts.
Now, what verse you on now? 4? 4, right, Zion?
Yes.
Okay. So, thus saith Yah, sit down and wait.
no.
They don't say that? Wait, it says sit down and wait, right? I got the wrong version. Somebody said I had the Jehovah's Witness Bible. Now, go ahead. I had the Pentecostal Bible. All right, go ahead, Zion. What does it say?
To all who are carried away
To
captive.
some of them.
Oh,
No, to a few of them.
To all who are carried away captive.
Okay, what does it say?
Whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem to Babylon. Build houses.
Wait, do what?
Build houses.
Build houses. Okay, what else?
And dwell ye in them.
So I can't just sit down, you're saying, and wait. Okay, keep going.
And plant gardens.
Plant gardens. Okay, keep going.
And eat their fruit. Take wives. And father's sons. And daughters. And take wives for your sons. And give your daughters to husbands.
Okay.
That they may bear sons and daughters. That you may be increased.
Wait, you may be increased. Okay, keep going.
And not diminished. And seek the peace of the city.
Wait a second. And I should do what?
Seek the peace of the city.
The peace of the city. So that root word shoresh shalom, which we know sometimes we say shalom, right? This is the way that it's conjugated, but shalom. So you're saying I got to seek the peace of the city. And what else?
Where I have caused you to be carried away captive. And pray to Yah for it.
And do what?
And pray to Yah for it.
Keep going.
For in its peace.
Wait, and what?
For in its peace.
You talking about the city I'm in? And its peace. How many of y'all from Detroit in here? Raise your hand. Okay, keep going. I didn't write this.
In its peace shall you obtain peace.
Why you ain't getting peace today? Externally. Because your city is not in peace. Because you're not doing anything. and I'm not saying this, I'm just speaking generally, y'all not doing nothing. You looking on the news. Oh man, somebody just got shot. All right, I guess we just gonna stay inside today. So somebody just got robbed. I'm just gonna stay inside today. I'm just gonna pray and call on Jesus. Jesus, you take care. You take the wheel, Jesus. Y'all laughing. People do this. Oh man, you talking about the communities in poverty? Man, there's all this stuff going on. So we're just sitting there being spectators when we're being told to get in the game. What is keeping you from getting in the game? What is keeping you from getting in the game? Okay, let's go into it. I'm going to get into something very interesting real quick, and then we're going to get to the last part. So when we go over this in Hebrew, that word pray, because we think that word pray means sit down. All right, Jesus, take the wheel, Jesus. Jesus, you do this for us, Jesus. I love you, Jesus. Y'all laughing. People pray like that. Let me get my prayer closet, and let me talk to Jesus. But what is that word in Hebrew? Paulal in Hebrew. Paulal. Paulal in Hebrew. So, pe, lamed, lamed. It's the cow stem. In Hebrew, cow stem just means a simple action. Simple action. But what does it mean? What is this lexical value? That means when you go into a lexicon, which is the dictionary that tells you the Hebrew word and the definition of the Hebrew word, what is its value? It's not pray with claps your hands, look up, or close your eyes and say, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. It means to intervene. Wait. Let's rewind that. It means to intervene, to make a judgment, or to interpose. So read that again with the word intervene. Verse 7.
Okay. And seek the peace of the city where I have caused you to be carried away as captive. And intervene.
Intervene. What?
To Yah.
On
behalf of him.
On behalf of him, you got to intervene to Yah on behalf of him. You're putting up an appeal for something to get done. You have to do that. And keep going.
For in
its peace
shall
you obtain peace. If you're not intervening, you're never going to get peace. You cannot sit this walk out. Because the moment you sit, you ain't walking. Let me say that again. Somebody missed that. You cannot sit this walk out because the moment you sit, you're no longer moving. And you're getting too comfortable. And you're wondering why nothing's changing. You must get involved in your community. Because the only way it can get peace is if it has you active in it. And you active in it. And you active in it. The moment you stop being active is the moment your city is going to be destroyed. But because you're there, just like Abraham talked about Lot. Okay, if there's 5 people in there, are you still going to destroy it? You're the 5 people in there. That's why Detroit hasn't been burnt down. Y'all missing that, but y'all not doing nothing. Imagine knowing that you have a fire department, you get a fire, nobody coming. The neighbors outside, oh my God, the fire's there. You know there's a fire department, but nobody's coming. That's what you're doing to this secular world. I'm going to say that again. There's a fire in the city of Detroit, in the city of Chicago, in the city of Milwaukee. I mean, the state of Milwaukee. Milwaukee's not a state. City of Milwaukee. In the city of Atlanta. In the city of New York, Brooklyn. There's a fire. And people are looking for somebody to intervene to stop the flames from burning. And guess what? It's supposed to be you. But all they hear you doing is yelling and screaming, and I'm awake. And I know the Most High, and I'm keeping the statute, laws, and commandments. But then why is the city not in peace then? I'm going to let y'all lie on that. And the last thing before we wrap it up is the culture. How many of y'all have studied the culture of what people call the Old Testament? It's really not the Old Testament. Don't believe that lie. It's not the Old Testament. But how many of y'all actually study the culture of the people that live within the chronological context of the Tanakh? Tanakh is just short for Torah, Nevi'im, which means prophets, and Ketuvim, which means writings. It's a compilation from the cultural collection of the community that fostered it. Because you got to think about it. When you read this book, you're not reading a book that was written by Christians. You're not reading a book that was written by people who are Jewish. You're reading a book about Israelites. From them, to them, and as a byproduct, anybody else in between. So if your ancestors have left a cultural collection of texts in order to get you situated today with the same principles they used back then we should be able to get the same results. When you study the Tanakh, there's a method called Midrash. What does Midrash mean, my brother?
Midrash comes from the Hebrew word drash, which means the title, the exhortation, or to expound upon.
So when you're actually going into what's called the Old Testament, you must perform Midrash. And the purpose of forming Midrash is to be able to extract, to seek out and extract the cultural elements that worked within the context of those ancestors and find a way to translate it to work today. If you're reading the text and you can't solve any problems in your life, throw it away. Why you still have it? What are you doing with it? Yes.
Could you spell that term?
Midrash. So it's a Hebrew word, but that's the transliteration in English, right? So I promise I'm not going to be too deep today. I'm just going to keep it very simple because this is serious. That fire is still raging. Y'all think the fires in California is bad.
Oh my goodness.
Spiritually, we destroyed. Those fires is representative of what's going on spiritually with our community because y'all not intervening. So for me, I said to myself, I have a responsibility. Let me do something. So this connects the second part with the last part when I'm talking about culture. I said, look, if there's a problem with health in the community, is there a solution in the text? If there's a problem with debt in the community, is there a solution in the text? If there's an issue with politics in the community, is there a solution in the text? Because if it's not giving you a solution, then you need to leave it in the graves with those who wrote it and keep it moving. So I've created 2 programs. One is called Jubilee Manumission. What does the word manumission mean? It comes from the root word manumit.
Freedom. Well, it's kind of like a...
Freedom is the sense, but it is when...
It's almost like a quid pro quo type of...
Kinda.
Yeah.
So it's a situation where the slave master would write paperwork because the slave lived his whole life with master, and master about to die, and master's like, all right, this slave was really good to me. I'm gonna write him his freedom papers, and I'm gonna give it to him. Now he's been manumitted because now ownership has been transferred. People think that you have 1,000% liberty today. No, ownership has just been transferred. Let that sit in. Some of y'all gotta think about that. So I said to myself, well, you know what? When I read this text, I keep coming across something that says Yobel. What does Yobel mean? Yeah, Yobel. Yobel. It's the sounding of the trumpet or the ram's horn to indicate that something is about to be released. Have y'all studied the Jubilee in the text? What is the Jubilee? Because that's the English word for it. But what is the Jubilee in the scriptures? We got to do some reading. No, I'm not going to call him. I gave him, So you have 7 years and you have a 49, 50-year Jubilee. The objective is anybody that is a heavy servitude as far as a slave, they must be released. Debts must be forgiven. You must return back to your own eretz, your own land, your own property. This is important because today, how many of y'all is in debt? Raise your hand. I'm going to raise my hand too. Everybody. Everybody's in debt. Y'all say everybody. Everybody's in debt. But if there's a solution in the text, what can we extract from it to fix that problem? Health. African Americans statistically has the worst health in the entire country. The worst health. The worst health, but you're calling yourself a light. I keep the statute, laws, and commandments. Where's the rest of the transformation? It sounds good. It feels good. But where's the application? So I created a program called Natural Path to Eden. The objective is to get the people back to the Edenic state. When Adam and Eve was in the garden, they were in perfect health. So we need to find out how to do that. So we do 3 things. We do exercise, moderate exercise, we do diet, and we do supplementation. But where's that in the scriptures? Well, when Adam was kicked out, he was told you have to till the earth. Right? Till the ground. There's your exercise. Exercise, right? Okay. So the second thing I said is diet, right? So the Most High in Bereshit chapter 8, he gave one to Noah, right? But then he followed up in Vayikra chapter 11. So there's your diet. We have to have an elimination diet, things we need to keep out because it's a template. The template was set down with the examples for that time, but we extracted some template and we apply it today. Because the things that we eat today sometimes are not the things that was eaten back then. So if you can't find a way to properly take the template and apply it so it fixes your problems today, then you're not properly doing midrash. Seeking out for an answer so it can fix your problem today. So that's the second thing, this is diet. So, we got diet. Okay, so we got the exercise going, we got the diet going, and now there's supplementation. What is the supplementation part? Let me see if I can figure that part out.
To give you something that you would not receive.
Supplementation, yes. That you couldn't get from your exercise or your diet is to add something on. So where at in the scripture will we find the supplementation element? Who said that? Why are you preaching my message? I'm just playing. So then you get the supplementation. Oils, all of that. Is even curcumin, right? Black seed is mentioned in the scriptures as well. So there is supplementation. So I'm like, wow. So you're saying the text is giving us all of these elements to create a program that can help our community and bring them back to the Edenic state. So we can fix that. We can fix the issue with health. So now the last thing, and after this, y'all can ask questions until they come and bang on the door. But I got my security going to keep the door closed, right? So we done. So the last thing is, now I got involved in a program called Imagine Greenhaven. Y'all write this down. Please write this down. It's called Imagine Greenhaven. Greenhaven. Imagine Greenhaven, or the Greenhaven Initiative. How many of y'all ever heard about that before? Raise your hand. Okay. So I'm going to explain this part to you. So you remember when we read the text where it says to intervene? Because when you seek for the peace of the city, in it you shall receive it, if you do something about it. So then I said, okay, Imagine Greenhaven. So out in Atlanta, there's a new fad that's going on where communities are coming together, unincorporated parts of the county, and creating their own township, their own cityhood. And the reason why they're doing this is because they feel that the county is taking too long to address local issues in their community. You heard what I said, right? Yeah. All right. So now this is going on in Atlanta, right? You got Sandy Springs, Brookhaven, you got Johns Creek, all these places are popping up. So what happened was our community said, wow, we could do the same thing, because they realized that even though there's 93% of us in one community, we're represented by 7%. How does that work? You 93% of your community and the 7% represent you. And they don't even live in the same area you live in. And this has nothing to do with race. I'm just saying statistics. So hopefully you're following me. So in Atlanta, our community created 2 of our own city hoods. One is called South Fulton, and one is called South Fulton. The other one is called Stonecrest. So when I got into this awakening and I found out about all this information, I said, wow, you know what? Jeremiah 29:7 says to seek the peace of the city by intervening. That's what the text is telling me to do. So I'm like, if I'm really going to walk this out, is there an opportunity to do that? So I bumped into Dr. Rice, and she was the one that created the Imagine Greenhaven. And what that is, it's a big, what's called a municipal incorporation, or a city that they're creating in Atlanta in the unincorporated part of the county. And it's going to consist of over 300,000 residents. Wow. It's going to be the second largest city in the entire state, and it's going to be one of the largest municipalities in the entire country. Listen to what I'm saying. So they've tried to get this passed. There's a process to go through to get this passed from 2014 to now. How many years is that? 5 years. They were looking for people to come and get involved to give them the missing pieces of the puzzle. Follow me. You're listening, right? Yeah. And I ain't no savior. I'm not saying I'm a savior. I'm a Mashiach Messiah, nothing like that. But I'm just trying to show you the difference you can make once you intervene. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to improve the economic development within the community, because if you increase the economic development and economic opportunities, people will come. There will be more of an investment to fix up your community, right? Because there's money there. Even hustlers on the street understand that. You feel what I'm saying? So with that being said, I found out about the program. I said, you know what? Let me get involved. Because there's no way I can sit here and watch what's going on in the community and complain. You don't have a right to complain if you ain't doing nothing. People come to me and complain all the time. I listen to them. I hear them. I speak to them where they at. Then I say, so what are you going to do about it? Because they're looking for you to do something. So I listen to them, get them comfortable. Yeah, you understand. Yeah, I feel you understand. Now what are you going to do about it? People are not prepared for that. They think you're going to give them some advice or you're going to do something for them. What are you going to do for that? Because I didn't create the complaint. I'm listening to it, but what are you going to do about it? So they were looking for people to come in. And they say young people. I don't know why people think I'm younger than what I am, but thank the Most High. I'll rock with that. That's why, please don't say my age once we walk out this door. I don't want nobody to know about it. They still think I'm 21, right? But they wanted the youth to get involved to kind of help mediate this. So when I got there, I had already studied about, well, what is this municipality? What is this incorporation? What is all of this? I started studying it, researching, created a whole PowerPoint on it. So when I got there, I got into one of the meetings. I listened to all the elders out, right? Always let my elders speak. I have high respect and regard for my elders. And I believe everybody who's youthful or even has any degree of youth, you need to listen to you, even when they're wrong, to learn from their mistakes. You hear what I said? Because sometimes you want to, oh, you wrong. But learn from their mistake. Okay. So I got there, got involved, right? I spoke. And I said, oh, yeah, I know what a municipality is. So I started saying what it is. I said, but I have an idea. So I gave them a 3-point economic development plan. And the reason why I'm saying this is because now what I do is when there's other communities that are in unincorporated parts of the county, depending upon what state you're on, I do teleconferences with them to teach them how you can create your own city. What better way to get involved than to be in control? And I'm not saying this is going to rescue you out of captivity. Y'all going to do that. But that's his job. Your job is to intervene on behalf of the city to seek the peace of the city while you're in captivity. Are you hearing what I'm saying? So the 3-point economic plan I gave them, I say, oh, we need a community foundation. And I'm going to end off with this. How many of you know what a community foundation is? Raise your hand. Wow. See? Community foundations is a non-for-profit that's created to go and do fundraisers to create grants to bring back to the communities that they're working on behalf of. Did you hear what I said? They go out and do fundraisers that they then transform into grants to give back to people for homes, for cars, for debt, for college. But guess what? Most of our communities don't have them or we don't know about them. And I can tell by the show of hands that we don't know about them. The first thing we do when we need money, we go to a bank. Nobody goes to the community foundation. Okay, so I realized, hey, you guys are starting this up, but where's the community foundation? You see? So Yah has to get his people in place to assist with the change in the community. Everybody here can do what I did and even better. I'm just an example. The second thing I told them, we need community currency. Community currency? How many of y'all heard of community currency? Raise your hand. No hands. So I said, okay, community currency is a currency, an alternative currency that runs alongside the primary state or federal currency. So if you guys create a currency that is valuable within your community, you never have to spend $1. And then you can solve homelessness. You know why? Because what the community currency does is that since the community currency is only valid in that community, if somebody is homeless, all you got to do is say, hey, we've designated this area of the community, this road that needs to be fixed. You assist with fixing it. We give you credit. You can pay off any bills or anything that you want so that you can take care of yourself. So we get the homeless to get involved to take care of the community, and in return, they have funding that they then can also translate to real dollars and take care of themselves.
Did they design the parameters, or they come up with the parameters
So,
to assign the value?
exactly. So what happens is when you form the cityhood, only people in your community is on the legislation. Nobody gets outsourced. When you set up the public safety, they get outsourced within the community or insourced from within the community. They don't pull nobody from outside to do it. They get volunteers. You got a fire department, they get the volunteers. Because all the other communities that are successful, they're involved in every element of their community, and this is why you don't hear all these atrocities happening there. So once I told them about that and the community courage, then I said we need community banking. Why are we going to Wells Fargo and Bank of America to get loans? When community banks exist. Did you know that? Whatever county you in, there's a community bank. Do you know what its function is? To create customized grants and or loans and services specifically for the people in that community. That means if the community fails, there's no community bank. They have a vested interest in make sure that y'all are successful, but nobody's going there. And I realized this was not part of their plan. So once I gave this to them, they said, wow, this is something that's interesting because it makes passing the bill more desirable to congressmen that we need to do it. Because now we see, look at these economic benefits that we did not have there before. So long story short, we have a much stronger case now to get this thing passed this year. Not because I'm the savior, but because Yah's great. And he's just using me as a vessel. So why he can't use you? Listen, I went to college for John Jay. Shout out to my brother Zion Lex, went to John Jay too, but I dropped out. This is not taking away from anybody that graduated, but I dropped out. So I dropped out of college, right? I started working regular mundane jobs. I worked my way up to the position I have today where I'm getting paid a nice salary, but I don't have none of the qualifications for it. All I have is a desire to please Yah. So when people see me, I'm not there, I'm a ghost. They see him. My big brother behind me. I'm coming to the park. Oh, you want to fight? All right, cool. Go get my big brother. And I come there like, yo, all right, we're going to do it. Or I'm about to fight somebody. Yeah, I'm going to beat you up. Oh, you ain't going to beat me up. Then my big brother come behind me. Yeah, all right, so what's up? You want to fight right now? It's good. And they see him. And I'm thinking, oh, why they running away? That's how we have to be when we get into the face of any challenge that's in our community. So once you wake up, you must do something. You cannot sit out this walk. And with that, I'm done.